Well, good morning and happy hump day to my friends. How are you? Turn the page. Uli made it in. And there's DT Driver. I'm a little smitten on him. Tanya Rodriguez, good morning. Teresa, look at that. D Mystery Obsessed. So happy to be with all of you. And she brought coffee. Check that out. We're so happy you're here. Black Skies, Peachy. Lady in Boston said, hey, kids. Hey, girl. Hippie Grandma's back. NC Mountain Girl, Share Bear. If I missed anyone, I apologize, but I promise I'll get you in the comments because you guys always say great things. Hey, Russ, what's up? What is up? Woo! Now, I put a poll up yesterday. I said, what do you guys want to talk about tomorrow? I had several options. And of course, there was an other. Then I came across this. Christopher Scholtes in Arizona, mid-July, 109-degree day, left his 2-year-old in the car. Now, I don't know about you all, but I'm getting really, really damn sick of these hot car cases. There's actually reminders when you go into stores. Did you leave your baby in the car? I saw an entire thing on the news. I'd say like a 20-second clip where they said, keep something important in your back seat, like your phone or your purse, so you won't forget your child. Hold the front door. Hold the front door. You need to keep your phone in the back as if your phone is more important than your baby? We've heard all the excuses. All the excuses. Casinos, drugs, alcohol, postpartum, ADHD. You name it. We've heard it. What is the excuse? Now, he is charged. Here he is right here with little Parker. With little Parker, look at her. Radio Gods has been a member for 8 months. Said happy hump day. You better believe it. Thank you for being a member. If you're not a member, please consider being a member because we would love to have you. He was inside on his lazy ass playing PlayStation. How did he not realize that his 2-year-old was in the car? For one, 2-year-olds are noisy, okay? I need juice. I need goldfish. I need snacks. I need this. I need this. I need this. And he had been warned before by his wife on the screen, who's a doctor. She's a doctor. He's charged with first-degree murder, but he's out now. He's out. What is the excuse for this? Can anyone help me with that? Because I can't wrap my mind around it. Now, maybe he pulled in and she was sleeping soundly and he just thought if I keep the car on. But did he not realize that his car, after so many minutes, will immediately shut off? And then he lost track of time because he was playing PlayStation. We're going to get through it. But first off, it is hump day. So let's please say hi to Mike.
Oh, guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Woo, Mike. Halfway to the weekend. And we celebrate the color pink since on Wednesdays we wear pink. And do we have pink umbrellas? Because our girl, Lady in Boston, just gifted 5 Crime Lines and Lies memberships. If you received a membership, please thank our homegirl, Lady in Boston. Get your umbrellas. A lot going on. First, let me give you just a clip of what was going on between Christopher and Dr. Erica. Okay? Just a clip. Then I'm going to go to your comments from what I posted yesterday. By the way, if anyone sees Joy Payne Jones in here, please alert me, because today is her birthday. So someone get my attention so we can all sing her happy birthday.
Taking a look at the text messages exchanged between the Marana husband and wife following the death of their 2-year-old who was left inside of a hot car. News 4 Tucson obtaining the interim complaint from Pima County, which reveals the father, 37-year-old Chris Scholtes, allegedly got distracted that day by playing his game and putting his food away. Text messages.
That's the excuse we're getting. He got distracted by putting food away and playing his game. Now, my friends, how is this going to hold up with a jury? How would this hold up with a jury? What jury is going to say, oh, I get it. Yeah, I know. You had to get the Brussels sprouts in the freezer. You had to get the meatloaf ready. Didn't want the butter to melt. And then you started playing a game. What's going to shock the shit out of you is that Dr. Erica has asked him repeatedly to quit leaving the kids in the car. And he has a child from another relationship that is speaking out. She was removed from his care. And there were DCS complaints. She's saying that all the kids should have been removed when she was removed, that they weren't. She said this wouldn't have happened. Now look at the text messages, my friends.
Between the couple indicate this isn't the first time the father may have left his children alone in the car. We're also learning the car was parked in direct sunlight. It was 109 degrees at the time of the call. After the toddler was found unresponsive and was on the way to the hospital, the wife sent her husband a
109 degrees. Here's the wife. I told you to stop leaving them in the car. How many times have I told you, she said. Who would need to tell anyone to stop leaving the kids in the car? You live in frigging Arizona. You know your own weather. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm a 70s baby. It was nothing for our parents to be like, I'm going to run in here real quick. And they'd have the windows down and we would just sit there. Nobody was going to take our asses. It was a different time. But this is windows rolled up, car running. So he knew she was out there because he says the car was running. There is doctor. This is no dummy here. Dr. Erica Scholtes, who said to him, I told you to quit leaving them in the car. The fuck? You don't leave animals in the car. You don't leave a damn goldfish in the car. She's 2 years old. She's strapped in. She can't get out. An adult in the car can get out. An adult can restart the key. We had another case like this before.
Text stating, "I told you to stop leaving them in the car. How many times have I told you?" In which Scholtes responded, "Babe, I'm sorry." The wife replied, "We have lost her. She was perfect."
That's all he's got to say. Babe, I'm sorry. Babe, I'm sorry. Good morning, Joanne B. She said, "Hi, everyone. I'm late, but glad to catch you live. It's been a while. We're glad you are here. And if you are catching this on the replay, come back and see us. We're live every day at 9 a.m. Every day at 9 a.m. Central. Stick around. You'll like us. Babe, I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't bring her back, babe. Babe. Dr. Erica said we've lost her. She was perfect. Well, I posted about this yesterday in the Crime Lines and Lies Facebook group, and you guys had a lot to say. Let's go to your comments, and I'm going to bring up a guest. Woo-wee! I posted yesterday in the Crime Lines and Lies Facebook group. I said, you guys are not going to believe this because I'm so tired of these hot car cases. I will never understand it. I will never, ever, ever understand it. You already know you put your child in the car. So when you get out, you grab everything else. He was getting groceries out, but he didn't get her. Cassie said, what's sad is the wife told him multiple times to stop leaving the kids in the car. That's what I'm talking about. Our friend Robin said, wow, fathers can be stupid, but this is ridiculous. He should get about 10 years in prison just for being stupid and another 30 for killing this baby. If that was my husband, I would know he would be too stupid to care for his own child. I would probably do something very horrible to him. He wouldn't even have to go to jail. Then our girl, Mama B, said, the more I read, the more pissed I'm getting. Let's bring up our pissed off friend, Mama B. Y'all, round of applause. Well, good morning, my wonderful friend, Mama B. And you guys know her as Mama B, the moderator.
Good morning.
Let me have it. What do you think should happen to Christopher Scholtes?
What do I think should happen?
Mhm.
Oh, I think it's a death penalty case.
Mhm.
No doubt about it.
I would agree. Especially when you have this message from his wife, that's a doctor, that says, I told you to quit leaving the kids in the car.
And then there's a text message. It's not his first time putting these kids in danger. You got the information from the older kid, and then the text message between her and the husband. Why were you going 138 with our baby in the car with alcohol in your system? And he says, you hate me. She was sleeping. It's fine. He's reckless, completely reckless. No regard for the kids at all.
Okay, now I missed that part of the text. She said, why were you going 138 miles per hour with alcohol in your system?
Uh-huh.
Holy.
In the News Tucson article. I sent it to you in Messenger. Uh-huh. You haven't shown you can stop putting the girls in danger or treating me badly. Even yesterday, you drove home drunk with 2 minors. You drink in excess. Every time I've been asking you for 3 years to cut back, but it actually has gotten worse. On March 21st, she wrote, "Why were you going 138 with our baby in the car with alcohol in your system?" Chris responded, "You hate me. She was sleeping. It's fine."
Son of a bitch. And now he's back home with Dr. Erica, and she's begging the court for mercy. Why is that? Is she afraid for charges on her own behalf?
I mean, she knew he was reckless. She knew he shouldn't have been left alone with the kids, obviously. But
And
to
how
go to court and beg for them to let him come home? That's crazy.
I agree with Susan. She has to carry some responsibility. If he's that reckless and he has been reminded umpteen times to quit driving drunk and to quit leaving the kids in the car, you're a doctor. Hire a nanny.
And there was another article. One of the kids said that he had done it at least 59 times before. I don't know where the number 59 came from, but that was the number that the kid gave.
Janice 5957 said they both need to go to jail. Now, I have not seen any toxicology if he was taking pills, if he was drinking. I'm going to assume on July 9th, 2024, he had to put up food. What does this fool do for a living? Have we found out yet? Is she supporting him? What's up, Mama B? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
They haven't said. He's got some kind of degree, but they haven't said whether he was working or what he did for work.
Oh, shit. Everyone's got some kind of a degree. What are you going to do with it? He probably got it on his phone.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And I'm not going to sit there and pick on any man that's the primary caregiver. There's nothing wrong with that. Not going to do it. But I am going to say something about Dr. Erica, who knows in Arizona, I don't care if it's in Antarctica, you don't leave children in a car. You don't do it. So now let's get to his older daughter. Okay, there's his mugshot. Y'all take a drink of that. Look at him with that porn star mustache. Goodness. For the first time, one of Christopher Scholtes' daughter is speaking publicly after the tragic death of his 2-year-old daughter, Parker, earlier this month. It was actually in July, not August. Parker died after being left in a hot car for several hours, according to Marana police. How do I pronounce that? Marana?
Yeah.
Christopher was charged with what the fuck is up with Christopher? I feel bad for anyone named Christopher lately. We got Christopher Watts. We got Chrissy Proudfeet. We got a lot of Chris's. We have Christopher Gregor. Now we got this one. He was charged with second-degree murder and is out of jail with having to post any bond. It's first degree now. The News 4 Tucson investigators discovered that he has a 16-year-old daughter from a previous relationship. That daughter, who requested we hide her identity, good going, you should. Tucson Chief Investigative Reporter Chorus Nylander, in an exclusive interview that she wasn't surprised when she heard about her half-sister's death. She said Scholtes would leave her alone inside of the car, sometimes for hours, since she was as young as 7. She says it makes plenty of sense. Actually, I'm surprised it didn't happen sooner, she said. Once I had to go out, sit out in the car for 4 to 5 hours and continuously had to restart the car and had only eaten once that day. She has type 1 diabetes, so that proved dangerous for her. Now, CPS has taken this child out of the home. And we also have text messages from Dr. Erica saying, I told you to quit leaving them in the car. Does anyone in here think that Dr. Erica should also be charged? Bueller?
Absolutely. She knew. There's no way I'd be leaving my kid with him.
Hell no. I mean, this is kind of one of these things where if you're between a rock and a hard place, who would you pick for a babysitter? Candace Wells or Christopher Scholtes? What would you do?
And it's not like he ran into the gas station to pay for his gas. It was over 3 hours. How do you miss a 2-year-old for 3 hours?
And she's strapped in her seat. She's 2. She's not going to keep restarting the car. And he's in there. He just wanted to sit there and drink his beer and play video games. Crazy. His daughter said she didn't even meet Christopher until she was 5. Then a bitter custody battle developed between her mother and Scholtes. She said eventually, against her wishes, Scholtes was able to get custody of her, and she spent 4 years living with him and Dr. Erica. She described that period as a nightmare. She said it genuinely has changed me as a person. I will never be the same person I was before I moved in their house, she said. I can see how this would happen. You know, because Dr. Erica is a doctor, and I don't know what station in life her mother's in. Look at this lady in Boston. Thank you for the super sticker. She said, as a diabetic, I'm horrified for that little girl. I am too. I am too. She said it got so bad in 2021. She said she tried to K herself because she didn't want to live with her father. CPS got involved, and Scholtes lost custody of her. She went to live with her mother until her sudden death in May. Think about this. She lost her mama. CPS got involved again, and now she lives with a legal guardian who's her mother's best friend. She said, I'm so happy I can help her and that she's here and safe and doesn't have to go through any more of anything. Now it's just a healing place and a safe place to grieve. So now she has to deal with the death of her mother and half-sister. And she's wise beyond her years because she's saying Parker's death could have been prevented. What do we think about this, my friends?
They're saying that the car automatically shuts off after 30 minutes due to some safety feature. The kids said that the car was off when they got out of the car, and the police are saying that they tested the car and it actually shut off after 20 minutes.
Okay, I've read 2 different articles. I read 23 minutes and 20. How many hours was little Parker in the car?
At least 3.
Okay, all right. So 2 hours and 40 minutes without air conditioning in a hot car in the Arizona sun. Greenhouse effect, scorching her. I am wondering, okay, the first degree shows intent. What would his intent be against this one child?
I don't know.
That we're going to have to dig into, because first degree is totally different than second or manslaughter. I agree with Lady in Boston. She literally cooked and suffocated. Let's look at this. Here's more of the backstory.
Good evening, and thanks so much for joining us for 12 News at 10. I'm Kadiba Devine.
I'm Mark Curtis. Tonight, an Arizona father is facing charges after his young daughter died in a hot car. It happened last week in Marana.
12 News journalist Gabriela Becerra is joining us live tonight. And Gabby, you have learned some alarming new details.
Well, Mark Cribe, the father reportedly told police that he had left the child sleeping in an air-conditioned car, but the court documents I've obtained tell a different story. His other kids told police that he was distracted playing video games.
Okay, this is important. This is important. Jinbug said, but he didn't forget the groceries and the other kids. He left her in there sleeping, supposedly. Okay? But the other kid said he was inside playing video games. Out of the mouths of babes.
And apparently this isn't the first time it's happened.
Christopher Scholtes is facing second-degree murder and child abuse after allegedly leaving his 2-year-old daughter in a hot car for nearly 2 hours. His children tell police this is something that happened regularly. Court documents reveal a text conversation between Scholtes and his wife the night the child died. His wife said, "I told you to stop leaving them in the car."
I told you to stop leaving them in the car. How many times have I told you? He responded, "Babe, I'm sorry." She said, "We've lost her. She was perfect." He said, "Babe, our family. How could I do this? I killed our baby. This can't be real." It is real. It is real. You got the other two out. You didn't want to take care of the 2-year-old. Jinbug is coming in like a hammer. She said, lock her ass up too. Lock her ass up too. She's providing him an attorney. She is begging for his mercy. She says, I want him back home so we can grieve together as a family. The hell is wrong with her, Mama B?
I wouldn't be begging for him to be coming home. And what kind of judge gives him no bond on a second-degree murder charge, and then they up it to first-degree murder, and they still give him no bond?
Because some states have a very, very weak justice system. Very weak. These judges are, no. People say it's all about the money. Okay, fine, it's all about the money. She's got money to get him out. How do you know he's not going to run off? He's got connections in other states. How do you know he's not going to? I couldn't look at his face. I couldn't look at his porn star mustache. Could you imagine even getting that text message? I told you to stop leaving him in the car. We're not talking about a sack of potatoes. Talking about your children. And she's a doctor. Y'all, she's a doctor. She doesn't have the regular smarts that the rest of us have. So she was in that car scorching for at least 2 hours and 40 minutes while the other two kids are in the house in the air conditioning. They probably put the groceries out. And he's playing on PlayStation.
How many times have I told you? And Scholtes responded, how could I do this? I killed our baby. This can't be real. Police say it was 109 degrees at the time of the 911 call. The car was parked in direct sunlight.
I can't overemphasize that you shouldn't do that.
Emergency doctor Frank Lavecchio says many things can go wrong when a child is in a car by themselves, even if the air conditioning is left on.
If you leave your car in a sunny spot, it rises by 1 degree Celsius for the first 30 minutes. So the temperature goes really, really high inside the car.
10 kids have died nationwide in hot cars so far.
We hear it every dadgum summer. We learned about the greenhouse effect when we were in school. The longer you're in there with the windows and the sun piping in, your body temperature, you cook from the inside. Marisay said, Brooks, the AMA needs to check into her medical license. Her knowing his behavior lets him do it over and over. How negligent is she with her patients? Let's talk about that, Mama B.
She's not a very smart person. She might have a degree, but she's not very smart. She has no
She doesn't
common
have a
sense.
degree. She doesn't have just any degree. She has a medical degree. And she's sitting there reminding broke dick, PlayStation boy, to quit leaving the kids in the car. This is a medical doctor on here talking about the greenhouse effect and how fast it gets hot in the car. Can you imagine when little Parker woke up and was sweating to death and her organs one by one by one by one started shutting down? But he was too into his gaming to go check. 10 kids have died in hot cars this year. And they all have the same excuse. I just forgot.
How do you forget? How do you forget? And then, put something important in your back seat so you don't forget your kid. What's more important than your kid?
And let us not forget, she's 2. She can walk. She can talk. Wake up, sweetheart. Come on in.
And I find it hard to believe that the other kids never said anything to him about the fact that this other baby was sleeping in the car for 2 hours and 40 minutes.
I think that's where the first-degree murder charge came from. Because they're already saying that he was in there on the PlayStation. I think they kept saying something. And they're little kids, too. I think that's where the first degree came from. Now, my question is, should the other 2 children be removed from the home?
Absolutely.
100%. 100%. I love you too, Mama B.
John's going to work.
Does everyone love Mama B? Oh, you were talking to John. We thought you were talking to us. They need to be removed because he's already been told over and over and over to quit leaving the kids in the car. He cannot be around those kids anymore. So she's going to have to make a choice. Dr. Erica is going to have to make a choice. Is it the 2 children and you get a babysitter? Or is it you keep broke dick around? You keep PlayStation boy around? You can't tell me she's making peanuts as a doctor. She might have student loans out the ass, but they get around that real damn quick. Trust me. She better make some decisions or she's going to lose everything. And she's already lost her daughter.
High inside the car.
10 kids have died nationwide in hot cars so far in 2024. This is the first one in Arizona, according to the National Safety Council.
There's never a time that I can think of is a good time to leave a dog or a child in a car.
The Good Samaritan law in Arizona allows people to break a window if a child or animal is at risk in a car. Deborah Nolan, the law's author, says that person must first call 911 and make sure there is no other reasonable manner in which the child or animal can be removed.
If you see something, say something. But in our case, if you see something after you've said something, do something. Because you need to get that child or dog out of the backseat of that car.
And Scholtes pled not guilty to the charges against him. He was released to pretrial services. Reporting live.
How the hell you plead not guilty? Did you leave her in the car or not? PlayStation boy, did you leave her in the car or not? You did. You said you forgot because you were distracted by putting up food, and then your other children ratted you out and said, no, he was on the PlayStation. Now, come on. Let's listen to the 911 call. You have a little bit of background noise, Mama B, so I'm going to mute you, and then we can reset.
Oh, okay.
A 911 call made by the dad who's accused of leaving his 2-year-old daughter in a hot car for 3 hours. The child was discovered when the mom, who is a doctor, came home.
We're hearing the frantic 911 call from a dad at the center of a hot car tragedy.
No, 911, 911, please. My baby was in the car. How responsive?
Y'all remember the case in Georgia where it turned out that he purposely left the child in the car? Now remember, Christopher has first degree against him. They obviously know way more than we do. And I don't think it's helped his cause by the other children saying he was playing PlayStation the whole time. That was his distraction. Now, I'm not that familiar with how judges and juries work in Arizona. Is he going to get first degree? Jen Bug's in here. She's in Arizona. Maybe she can help explain it to me, Jen Bug. Do you think he'll get first degree, or do you think they're going to reduce this to like manslaughter? Because his attorney's no slouch.
The frantic 911 call from a dad at the center of a hot car tragedy.
No, 911, 911, please. My baby was in the car. How responsive? Oh my God, oh my God.
2-year-old Parker Scholtes died after her father allegedly left her in his car on a scorching hot day. He says she was asleep in the car and he didn't want to wake her, so he left the engine running and the AC on.
And this was out in the driveway? Yes.
The little girl's mom, a doctor, came home to find the car off and no AC. Parker was unresponsive. Authorities say.
Okay, question. Question to everyone, but Mama B's in the hot seat. She gets home. Okay, that'd be like me getting home. I see my car in the driveway. What made her check the car? The car is off and she found her daughter unresponsive. Did she just happen to look in there, or was she worried considering he's been so irresponsible before? Her text said
she went in the house and couldn't find the kid and asked him where the kid was, and he started looking all over the house, and then somehow or another they ended up out of the car looking at the car, and there she was.
Okay, well, Inside Edition didn't spell that out now, did they? So the text messages, I mean, were they both at home when she's like, I told you not to leave them in the car anymore?
Maybe one of them was in the ambulance and the other was following in the car.
Okay, that could be it. Jinbug said he knew where she was. Still Waters, she knew his pattern. This is no accident, my friends. You can't have accidents like this. Distracted, PlayStation, and food, putting food up.
Came home to find the car off and no AC. Parker was unresponsive. Authorities say her body temperature was 108 degrees.
Is she still breathing?
Her body temperature was 108 friggin' degrees. Now, I know we have a nurse in here, Angel P. I need her to explain, if she can grab the link and tell us what happens to your body when your core temperature is 108 degrees. I'm going to put the link up. I use it for everything. I'm telling you something right now. I probably owe her a copay. Trace on the case, my friend. I have missed you. So glad you're in chat. She said, I live in Phoenix. I ran the Circle K the other day. My dog was in the car and I took my dog into Circle K with me. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. 108 degrees. Holy shit. You know that my fake Bombay OJ, he knows what it's getting too hot in the house. He goes right underneath where the air conditioner, where the keypad is, to turn it down. And he'll take his head and rub it against the wall. And I know that means he's not comfortable. True story. That's what fake Bombays do. Can you believe that, Mama B?
I just almost choked on my muffin. Fake Bombay.
Kimberly Mann said, which means the car was probably close to 120. Her core temperature is 108. This little girl, she didn't know how to unbuckle herself. She didn't know how to turn the car back on. Her half sister said she used to restart the car. He probably has those child-proof locks where they can't get out. Jinbug said it's literally so hot here, your car doesn't even cool down till you've drove for at least 30 minutes. Jinbug, do you have time to come up? Because I really need some insight into this because I am furious. And listen to him, so nonchalant.
And no AC. Parker was unresponsive. Authorities say her body temperature was 108 degrees.
Is she still breathing?
No, she's not breathing right now.
Okay, we need to start CPR right now.
Yes, we are. We're starting CPR, yes.
I need to hear CPR. I need them to count it out for me. 1, 2, 3,
1, 2,
4.
3. But my wife's a doctor. She's home.
The mom asks her husband, what happened?
It was, but it turned off. I've been checking.
Is she breathing yet?
Is she breathing? No. Oh my God, baby. Baby.
You can hear Dr. Erica Scholtes.
He's been checking. Big fat lie. Big fat lie. Because even if he had gone out, okay, the car recycles at 20 minutes. Let's say he went out after, let's say 40 minutes to check to make sure the car was on. She wouldn't have been dead by that time. He would have known the car's not on.
Well, the neighbor's camera says otherwise, because the neighbor's camera says they never saw him go out there in the whole 3 hours that she was in the car.
Another element of first degree. It gets so hot in Oklahoma, now it's no comparison to Arizona, that you have to keep your vehicles in a garage or under like a carport because they'll get sunburnt. Angel P said 1 of 6 results in seizures. Thank you, Angel P. She probably did have a seizure as things were shutting down.
Is counting chest compressions. First responders rushed Parker to the hospital, but she didn't make it. The dad, Christopher Scholtes, was arrested. Police in Marana, Arizona say he allegedly got distracted by playing his video game and putting his food away. His wife called in to a court hearing.
This was a big mistake, and I think that this doesn't represent him.
Christopher Scholtes has been released from jail pending a grand jury investigation that will consider whether charges will be filed against him.
Or they are filed for first degree. But Dr. Erica's not having it. Do you think that maybe, this is opinion only, Mama B and everyone in chat, do you think she's standing by her man because she's afraid of losing her medical license, or she's afraid of charges for herself? So she's got to stand firm and say it was a big mistake. Now, she might be behind doors cussing him up one side and down the other. She might have already told him you're in timeout from the PlayStation.
How do you get in bed next to a man who let your child roast to death in your car?
Mm-hmm.
How do you beg for them to let him come home?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, keep his ass in jail. Because if I get to him, he's not going to make it back to jail.
Yeah. He's going to like jail a lot better than home. I think there should be charges on her also because she is what they call complicit. Her text message says, I told you to quit leaving them in the car. Now, she is a medical doctor, and her stepdaughter was already removed from the home. Okay? She keeps reminding him to quit leaving them in the car because between the two of them, they have 3 children. So the other 2 came in with him and watched him play on the PlayStation. She is complicit and she's culpable.
And how does she still have her medical license? How is she still a practicing doctor? after having a child removed from her home by CPS.
That is a very long and lengthy process, especially in this day and age when doctors and nurses are of a shortage. It is a crazy system, and anywhere you go, whether it's the police, the fire department, hospitals, there is a political aspect to it. And it's sick. She already said you were going 138 miles an hour and you were drunk with the kids. Would that not have been it for you, Dr. Erica? Now, last I heard, the children are still at home. But she has hired outside help. Makes me wonder what he's really on. See, this isn't any old boys sitting around drinking Coors Light and playing PlayStation. Makes me wonder if old Dr. Erica hasn't been writing him some scripts.
Could be.
Because abuse of power is not uncommon. Now look at this. Listen to her plead to the court to get porn mustache, PlayStation boy out.
A dad hangs his head in grief as his wife begs a judge to release him. Their 2-year-old daughter lost her life after the dad allegedly left her in a hot car.
I'm just asking if you can allow him to come home to us so we can all start the grieving process so that he can bury our daughter with us.
Police say the husband drove up to the house outside Tucson, Arizona, with his daughter asleep in the car. He told police he didn't want to wake her, so he left her in the vehicle with the engine on and the AC running. The temperature outside was 109 degrees. 3 hours later, his wife, Dr. Erica Scholtes, arrived home. Cops say little Parker was discovered unresponsive in the car. The engine was off and there was no air conditioning.
I heard the most horrible screams I've ever heard in my entire life.
Hello, Kevin B. We say it on the show all the time. Beyond the victim, the web of cruelty just spreads and spreads and spreads. This is a neighbor who's saying, I heard screams I've never heard before. Now, I really hope none of the neighbors didn't hear little baby Parker in the car screaming. We all know we don't pay attention. We know that. We all know we don't. I can hear lawns being mowed. I can hear people starting their cars. At what point when you hear a scream do you get involved? I'm going to ask you, Mama B.
I mean, if it's right away. If I hear a kid screaming, I'm going looking.
Yeah, I know you don't screw around, that's for sure. I just really hope none of the neighbors, because we know the difference. That's the reason I asked Jody Sue. That's the reason I hate Jody Sue's ass so much. We know the difference between a child's pitch, tone of voice, and an adult's. Okay, I can be in my front yard screaming at OJ saying, get your ass back in the house, you fake Bombay. But no one's going to do anything. If I hear a child screaming, I'm at high alert. I'd hate to bring Jody Sue Brown on to analyze the scream.
The mom, an anesthesiologist, performed
Oh my God, an anesthesiologist? She probably makes a damn $800,000 a year. And she's got that piece of shit watching the kids and reminding him not to leave them in the car? How did he
not to drink drunk with them in the car and go 138 miles an hour? How did she know how fast he was going? What she got? Life 360 where she can see how fast he's going in the car?
Yeah.
Because he can't be trusted with her kids?
She's not some cold and sinus doctor, for hell's sake. She's a freaking anesthesiologist. She puts people on the brink of death and brings them back. What is she doing with him? She procreated with him 3 times. What the hell is this dude packing? How good is he at PlayStation that she keeps him around and has to keep saying, quit leaving the kids in the car. Quit leaving the kids in the car. Where's the kids? Where's the kids? What were you doing driving home drunk? Hell's wrong with her? There's a reason anesthesiologists have
Anesthesiologists puts up with their husbands sitting around playing video games all day.
That's what I want to know.
If John was sitting around here playing video games all day, I'd be like, what the hell are you doing? Get up, go mow the lawn, go do something. Get off the damn video game.
Yeah. What are you, 12? These women, and she's not just a regular woman, okay? She's no low self-esteem barfly that's just looking for anyone to move her into their car and live happily ever after. But this, in my opinion, is big time neglect because the text messages say everything. Her own words. I'm just really surprised the crew's not here. You know, the crew I'm talking about, the ones that come in and say, oh, here you are again, picking on people that have nothing to do with it. Come on, it's your baby girl. You're an anesthesiologist. Last I read, anesthesiologists have to carry the absolute maximum in malpractice insurance because they have an extremely dangerous job. We have to trust them. Could you imagine being put to sleep for surgery, but you're actually awake the whole time and you feel everything? They get sued for that shit all the time. Personally, anytime I've ever had surgery, they said, they say count from 10 and back. Last I remember is 9 at the most. This woman, and she knew CPR was way beyond. So what was it about little Parker that he couldn't deal with? That he left her in the car. He knows his car was going to shut off. Lady in Boston said 100%, and they don't work for the hospital they work for. They are independent from the hospital for that reason. That's what I'm talking about. Opinion only, Mama B. What was his reasoning for this?
I don't know. I can't figure it out. Was she throwing a fit and he just wanted to get the hell away from her? I don't believe she was sleeping.
They've got the money to hire a babysitter. They do. They have it. They've got it. If he needed to go get groceries, has he ever heard of Instacart? Ding, ding, ding. Has he never heard of Instacart? They've already lost one child to Child Protective Services in Arizona. Would that not already be the most major red flag that's hanging over your house, Dr. Erica? You've got to be kidding me.
I've ever heard in my entire life.
The mom, an anesthesiologist, performed CPR until first responders got there. Parker was rushed to the hospital, but didn't make it. According to police, Christopher Scholtes was aware the vehicle would automatically shut off after approximately 30 minutes, but he allegedly got distracted by playing his video game and putting his food away. Court papers reveal shocking text messages between the parents as their little girl was being rushed to the hospital. "How many times have I told you?" says the mom. "Babe, I'm sorry," he answers. "We have lost her. She was perfect," says mom. Then he texts, "Babe, our family, how could I do this? I killed our baby. This can't be real." Dr. Scholtes called into the court hearing. They have 2 other children.
He's an amazing father. This was a big mistake.
He's an amazing father, and this was a big mistake. Can someone help me here? Is it too early to drink? It's 9:57 a.m. my time. Mama B, am I allowed to have a drink? I'm so pissed.
Absolutely.
Okay,
It's not too early.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere, everywhere. Trace on the case said, I think he resented that she wouldn't pay for daycare for the kids. That's what I'm thinking too, because she's probably saying, hey, look here, broke dick. You don't have a job, so why am I going to pay for daycare when you're home? Higher standards, lady. Higher standards.
And why wasn't he working?
I don't know. Maybe he felt demasculated. Like, she probably had what I've read, some other circles around here. She always had a list of things for him to do, the honeydew list. So when I get home, kids better be bathed, house clean, dinner done. Don't have to worry about the lawn because you live in Arizona. I want everything done. I want that car spick and span. No crayon on the walls. But I don't think she is that much of a, thumb on the head type of chick, because she had to keep reminding him to not put the babies in the car and leave them. That was his babysitter. Lady in Boston, again, thank you for the super sticker, girl. You wanting to spanking bad today, aren't you? The baby was a lot of work due to diabetic needs. He kept her in the car so he didn't have to deal with her. He looks in active addiction, in my opinion. Now, let me ask you, lady in Boston, opinion only, of course. Rumor only. He had a bit of a pill problem. Anesthesiologists, they can write scripts. Where do you think he was getting his pills, and for what? Is it one of those, oh my back, oh my back, oh my back, oh my back, or oh my knee, I got this old football injury? What do you think it was? Something was feeding this negligence. You've already lost one child. You've already lost one child. Now you've got
He
three.
looks a little rough around the edges to be married to an anesthesiologist. He's got his facial hair is overgrown. He's not very clean cut.
Well, you look at this picture right here. He has no neck.
Yeah.
I think he's fugly. I just want to know how he scooped her up. What the hell is going on? I'd love to know how they met. I'd love to know who swiped left. Who swiped left? Because they don't run in the same circle.
Family, how could I do this? I killed our baby. This can't be real. Dr. Scholtes called into the court hearing. They have 2 other children.
He's an amazing father. This was a big mistake, and I think that this doesn't represent him. No one understands how great of a tragedy this is more than myself, my remaining 2 daughters, and Christopher.
Christopher Scholtes has pled not guilty to second-degree murder.
The not guilty really pisses me off. Okay, now that's when it was second degree. Now it's first. I would love to know what escalated the charge. We're going to continue following this. I'm not done yet, though. Don't jump out. Sometimes when I say things like that, everyone jumps out thinking we're done. Don't they, Mama B?
Yeah.
And hell, we've had enough problems around here lately. Well, Dr. Erica got her wish, because guess who is back home with her? Mr. PlayStation. She probably went and bought him 2 or 3 more Nick games. She probably said, I'll put some more credit on your account. Supposedly, she did hire a babysitter. I want to know why Child Protective Services has not made her make the choice between Mr. PlayStation and the 2 other children.
Well, she had to hire a babysitter because he's not allowed to be left alone with the kids.
There you go. What is he holding over her head? Have we thought about that, Mama B?
I don't know. Probably the fact that she's writing him his prescriptions.
That is a possibility, and that's going to be very easy for them to track down. Now, the police aren't going to be so involved in that considering she's an anesthesiologist. The DEA will. And so any of you that are in the medical field, you know what happens when the DEA shows up to the doctor's office or the hospital, because a woman like Dr. Erica would have kicked him straight to the curb the first time she had found out the kids had been left in the car. A woman like Dr. Erica would have kicked him to the curb the minute CPS came knocking about her stepdaughter. But she keeps old boy around. Why? Why? That's something to think about. Why are you keeping the no job having bastard around? To vacuum? You can pay someone to vacuum. To watch the kids? You can pay someone to watch the kids while you're at work. To put up the groceries? You have him around to half-ass stuff all day long? Chew on those pills and play PlayStation? Hell is going on here? Let me tell you what, there's no tricks he knows in the bedroom that other men don't know. Is it a control issue? Like, as long as he's here, I can at least keep my eyes on him. Or if not, if I divorce the fool, I'm going to be paying him probably $5,000 a month in child support just for split custody. I don't know. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Mama B. Go ahead.
I said, and then she's back in the same boat where she's got to trust him with her kids. Which obviously she didn't. There's text messages to prove it. So why was she leaving him alone with her kids?
He couldn't be trusted with his own child. That's the reason that little Parker, who died a horrific death in that car, her half-sister speaking out, saying living with them, not just her father, them, was a nightmare, she said. A total nightmare. And she was removed, given back to her mama. Her mama died. From what? I don't know. Do we know how the half-sister's mama died?
I have no idea.
So now she's with a guardian. But again, Dr. Erica got her way.
Father of a 2-year-old girl who died after being left in a car during a hot day appeared in court.
37-year-old Christopher Scholtes is facing second-degree murder and child abuse charges. Tonight, no bond was issued and he was released from jail. His wife spoke to the judge. Take a listen.
I'm just asking if you can allow him to come home to us so we can all start the grieving process so that he can bury our daughter with us this upcoming week and that we can go through this whole process together as a family. This was a big mistake, and I think that this doesn't represent him. And I just want the girls to see their father so that I don't have to tell them tonight that they're going to endure another loss.
She's extremely well spoken, and it seems like, OJ, that's not for you. And it seems like the judge is agreeing with her, which makes me sick. So the 3 children that they have together are theirs together. Parker is his child. There was another child who's 16 years old who was living with them at one time and removed. Now, you're telling me an anesthesiologist doesn't know how to take care of children? You don't have to be a pediatrician to take care of children. I really want to go back to the half-sister who spoke to a news station, and her identity is secret, as it should be. Has Dr. Erica thought that maybe the sisters who are experiencing a ton of PTSD, because you can't tell me they didn't know that their little sister was in the car. You can't tell me while they were taking care of themselves and he was sitting there on the PlayStation, thumbs going crazy, spraining those thumbs, that they didn't say, what about Parker? What about Parker? How many times that day in that 3 hours did he say, she's fine, she's sleeping? Nobody saw him go out there and check. No one saw that. I have too many questions. I've got too many assumptions and too much speculations.
And the neighbor's camera doesn't lie. He never went out in 3 hours and checked on that kid.
And I also want to know, not to be judgmental, but I have a question. When she is pleading with the judge, have him come home, we can grieve together, where's her devastation? Even her text messages sound very plain Jane.
I'd be a sobbing mess. And she's just no emotion whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. Would you not be bawling your face off? Imagine the condition she saw her little girl in. She was probably black and blue. She didn't look like just little Parker laying there sleeping. We've heard about other hot car deaths that the child is unrecognizable. Where is the compassion for Parker? Why is she not? I don't know the words. I can't find the words. Help me, Mama B.
She's more concerned about him than she is her kid.
Mm-hmm.
Which is mind-blowing.
You said it perfectly to me when I got that message from you. You were like, this is mind-blowing. It is. I can't make sense of it. No way, no how.
Now, the judge did rule that he cannot have any unsupervised contact with minors.
And the 2-year-old girl died Tuesday, if you remember, after being left inside that father's car, the SUV. Marana police say that he allegedly left his daughter asleep in the car with the AC running while he went inside the house for 3 hours. The mother of the child later arrived at the home and found the girl unresponsive inside the car with no AC. The car was basically no longer running. In the meantime, Scholtes will be back in court on August 1st at 1:30 p.m.
He went back. He went back, my friends, and the ante has been raised. It's no longer second-degree murder. Manslaughter was never on the table. Hold on. Mrs. Information said he does, Gene. I was just about to say that. What did Gene say? Gene said he looks a little like Chris Proudfoot. He certainly does. They're all starting to blend together. Like if I could do a morph of Christopher Gregor, Christopher Watts, Christopher Schultz, and Christopher Proudfoot, they could all be one person at this point. Absolutely crazy. I feel bad for anyone named Christopher. I do. And that's the reason I hate to say people's names, because you have someone in chat going, well, hold on, my son's name's Christopher. So we just call him around here Mr. PlayStation. Do you know any Christophers, Mama B?
Not any good ones.
Well, shit.
Now for what's trending in true crime. Charges have been upgraded against an Arizona father accused of leaving his 2-year-old daughter in a hot car for hours before she died. All of this while he allegedly was playing video games. 37-year-old Christopher Scholtes now faces felony first-degree murder.
37. At 37, he doesn't know that if you leave a child in the car, we're not talking about an 84 Silverado that's going to keep running. At 37, he didn't know. They teach you this stuff in school. It's also something that has left our society. Common sense is very uncommon. Mermaid. Oh, yes, this asshole. Why is he playing video games at 37? Yeah, Mr. PlayStation. Mr. PlayStation. My goodness. I don't know. There's got to be intent here. Look at this beautiful little baby. Look at her. Look at that curly hair. Look at her eyes. Look at her. She's absolutely gorgeous. There has got to be some sort of proof of intent because it's been upgraded to first degree. I don't know.
And felony child abuse in the death of little Parker Scholtes. He told police that he left the girl sleeping in the backseat last month with the air conditioning on. Here's Craig Smith of Scripps News Tucson with the story.
Marana police say the 2-year-old girl died after the father left her in the backseat of the family car for more than 3 hours. The man told police that he left the engine and the air conditioner running, but he also knew that that car would shut itself off fairly quickly.
The young girl died on July 9th. Marana police originally said Christopher Scholtes left the 2-year-old girl in this car with the air conditioning running, but the air conditioning shut off. He said he had left the child in the car before and did not want to wake her because she was sleeping.
This is one of her own company cars, but it has a feature the car in this case had too. If you put this car in park and leave the motor running, the car will shut off automatically in 30 minutes. And police say Christopher Scholtes knew that.
According to the interim complaint, the family's other children, aged 5 and 9, told police Scholtes often left all the children in the car.
This is one of the parts. And for those of you catching this on the replay, or those of you that came in late, please rewatch this show, because it is a big O FFS. We all know what that means, right? He often left them in the car. We have a firsthand testimony from his daughter from another relationship. And by the way, lots of people play PlayStation, lots of people play Xbox, but they don't do it while their children are dying in the car. Help me out here, Mama B.
I don't even have words at this point. Who leaves 3 children in a car? It's not the first time he did it. I mean, and these are little kids, and they're telling authorities that he does it all the time. All the time.
Now, if they're telling the authorities, do you think they have complained to their mother or other family members and no one gave a damn? We saw the text.
I'm sure. And that's why there's all these text messages between the mother and the father about what he's doing with the kids in the car.
Days like this, Dawn and Candace look like decent parents. Decent, not good. This is horrible. What an unimaginable death. Angel P said there is no excuse. IDGAF. What is the excuse? There was a case here in Oklahoma. Geez, I'd say 2006, 7. Woman had a baby in June, school teacher, okay? She packed up the baby in August to go teach. She's a school teacher. Somehow she didn't go to the babysitter's house. She was actually teaching in the school district I'm in. She got a school. The baby's car seat's turned around. It's not frontward facing, you know? She drove to the babysitter's house and she said, I'm here to get Amelia. She goes, you never dropped her off. I didn't know what happened. Baby was dead in the back of the car. They said it was postpartum.
Give me a break. I'll never buy this whole I forgot my kid in the car. You don't forget a kid. You just don't.
And the babysitter's house is like 2 miles away from the school. So she jumps in after school, 3:45, first day of school. She drives over to the babysitter's house, goes, knock, knock, knock. Hey, I'm here to get Amelia. You never dropped her off. She passed out right there. Well, after she saw her baby in the back. Misty Rose said a judge here it was called forgotten baby syndrome. Is that really a syndrome though? Is that really a syndrome? And what is this new shit with these people? Put your phone on top of your baby. First off, Parker's not a baby, she's 2. This was done intentionally. He knew where she was. He just never went to get her. He probably got stoned. Who knows? I mean, I seriously need some help with this. I really, really do. You know if you're missing a child around the house.
Especially a 2-year-old. They want something every 30 seconds.
No shit. I'm hungry. I need a snack. I need some juice. I spilt my juice. I need more juice. I've got to poop. I've got to pee. You know if your 2-year-old's not around. It's called the terrible twos for a reason. You've got to be kidding me. I think he just didn't want the responsibility of taking care of her that day, and just thought, I'll set my alarm for 3:15 and I'll get her out of the car and I'll go get her before her mom gets home because I don't want to hear her mouth. But didn't realize that the car was shutting off. But he had to have known because his daughter, the older daughter, the half sister, was taken from the family. Dr. Erica as well, saying that she was left in the car and she knew how to restart it. Well, guess what? Little Parker didn't know how to restart the car, and she was strapped in.
And on this day was distracted by a video game and by putting some food away. Scholtes' wife is a medical doctor. Investigators say she came home about 4 p.m. and asked where the 2-year-old was. The report says Scholtes searched through the house, then remembered the girl was still in the car. By that time, the car and its air conditioning had stopped. Police say by late afternoon, the temperature was 109. Scholtes told police he had returned home with the girl by about 2:30. Police found neighborhood surveillance video that showed they'd returned at 12:52, about 2 hours sooner. The child's mother tried to revive the child but could not. Police say as an ambulance rushed the child to a hospital, the mother texted Christopher Scholtes, "I told you to stop leaving them in the car. How many times have I told you?" Scholtes responded, "Baby, I'm sorry." The mother texted, "We've lost her. She was perfect." Scholtes said, "Babe, our family, how could I do this? I killed our baby. This can't be real." Craig Smith, KGUN 9.
Tragic story all around. And this morning, we are asking why first-degree murder charges instead of the original charge of second-degree murder. Let's bring in our wonderful panel of guests. We have
And that's what I want to know. What upgraded it from second to first? What do you all think? You know, I love having an interactive chat. Angel P is certainly interactive. Look at that $5 super sticker. My 7-year-old grandson asked me, how do you forget your kids? Well, he is damn sure smarter than Mr. PlayStation. He had a habit of doing this. In your opinion, Mama B, what do you think the upgrade is? Because remember, murder 1.
Well, he lied about the time they got home. Then you've got the other kids telling them that he left the kid in the car. He had done it before. The text messages between him and the wife, I'm sure that all comes into play. It wasn't the first time he had done it.
Kevin B said evidence. Yeah, I got that. Mrs. Information said probably all his lying and inconsistencies that makes it seem intentional. Debbie agrees with Mama B. It got upgraded because he lied to authorities. Yes, lady in Boston. I bet he has messages, etc., telling people he didn't want to deal with her anymore. I have a feeling there's some digital fingerprints that are going to lead to why they believe it's intentional. Mama Bear 10, so glad you're back, because it was proven he had done it multiple times before. Therefore, this is not an accident. Did not even think about this, Lisa M. Another thing that could have happened, if the car was outside, someone could have broken in and driven off. This guy needs to go to prison for a long, long time. That actually happened in Tulsa a couple summers ago. Somebody ran into the Quick Trip go get a pack of smokes, go to the ATM. I don't know. They came out, the car was gone. Someone stole the car. Had a baby in the back. Tulsa PD found the car, found the baby. No. Kevin B said, when did this happen? Mid-July. Marisay, I'm loving y'all because you guys are really in on this. I'm telling you, you guys are honed in. Marisay said the other children also gave the full story. Exactly. He's sitting there dicking around playing Cubert when he knows the baby's in the car.
A former homicide prosecutor, Melba Pearson, still with us, criminal defense attorney and former public defender Michael Riley, and retired DEA supervisory special agent Michael Wilhite Sr. is with us. Thank you all for being here and for breaking down this really heartbreaking story, but it's an important one. And Michael Riley, I want to start with you. First-degree murder versus second-degree murder, but it doesn't mean that he's any more intentional because it's felony murder. Can you break that down and react to whether or not prosecutors should have taken it this step?
Yes, thanks, Julia. It's great to be here. I think there's several factors that led to the charge getting brought up to a murder 1 as opposed to a murder 2. First and foremost, we're talking about July in Arizona. 109 degrees outside. Second, we know that Christopher Scholtes' vehicle was going to shut off. He knew it was going to shut off. It did shut off. And third, for over 3 hours, he sat inside playing video games and never went outside to check on Parker. Just a heartbreaking case, Julia.
So heartbreaking for everyone in the family. Michael Wilhite, can you talk to just the investigating part of this case? You have officers first knowing that there's a child that is deceased inside of a car, but they don't stop there. That doesn't automatically get them to thinking that this may be a murder case.
Right, Julia. How are you doing? You know, they're going to definitely look into cooperate as far as, and I think you already mentioned that in the prelude, that when he actually arrived, they're looking at cameras, you know, from the residence, from the streets and stuff to see when he actually arrived. They found that he drive 2 hours earlier than what he stated he did. They're going to be talking to the other kids too to see if either there's a pattern. They discovered that apparently he's left him in the car before. Texting the apparently texting between him and the missus after she tried to revive the child reflects that he's done it before, and they've talked about his pattern before. Also, they're gonna look at talk to the neighbors. They're gonna talk to as far as if there's daycare or school officials. Check medical records and everything to see if there's a pattern. Beyond just him leaving the child in the car, the kids in the car.
Melba, Michael, well, thank you for that. But Melba, I want to talk about the human side of this, the parent side of this. You know that this is a dad who seems like he was truly remorseful, cannot believe that he did something like this, and a defense likely.
But the hot car deaths, we always hear a truly remorseful parent. Now, listen, we know when we get back in our house, whether we have a newborn, a 1-year-old, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we know when we get in the house, there's something missing, and that's the baby. What's Nancy Grace say? Where's the baby? Where's the baby? You know you have a diaper to change. You know you have lunch to make. You know that you're going to hear some rattling around with toys. You know there are TV shows to put on. I understand there's only one TV in the house. So you have 2 other children there. He's playing PlayStation. So they're sitting there watching him play PlayStation, and they can't even watch what they like to watch. It's all about the kids, and she's diabetic. I don't know much about diabetes except for an older people, Mama B, but you have children. You know, you miss that clattering. You miss something going on in the house. You know that they're not in the house, correct?
Yeah. I mean, if Haley's hungry, I'm going to know it. I got to feed her, every hour. She's on summer break. She's hungry all the time. She wants something every 5 minutes. She's been out here 5 times since we've been on. Am I going to talk yet? Is it my turn to talk yet? Kids want stuff all the time.
All the time. Is she my new co-host?
Yeah, she's coming.
Tell her say hi. We can say hi.
Haley, come here.
What?
Come say hi.
Hi.
Hey, everyone, say hi to Haley. Everyone say hi to Haley. Ilyanka said, when my cats get real quiet, I check to see what trouble they're getting into. Exactly, like my fake Bombay. He wants 3 breakfasts a day now. Lady in Boston, diabetics will dehydrate so fast, and she only ate once that day. If she has a pump, the insulin could have killed her too if not monitored. Now let's talk about that as well. She has type 1 diabetes. Kaleidohope, if there's no sound, you have to go check on kids. It usually means they're doing something bad. Oh, I know, because I was outnumbered. 3 boys to me. They had me outsmarted by the time they were 4, 3, and 2.
I'll be right back.
She just said, I'll be right back. Big round of applause for Haley. Big round of applause for Haley. She's our new co-host. I went to school with a girl that was diabetic. Same one. Same type 1 diabetes. They used to call it juvenile diabetes. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nurse. I don't know the difference. So as children, we always knew there was something different because she had to test quite often and she had to eat quite often. But he left her in the car. He left her in the car, and he's also the husband of a doctor, not just any doctor, an anesthesiologist, a specialist.
We'll be looking into distracted syndromes. Forgotten baby syndromes is one that a neuroscientist in the Justin Ross Harris case, David Diamond, brought forward, where there's a neurological part of it where this person's brain just completely forgets because he looked for her in the house, thought she was in the house at the time. But first degree versus second degree, your thoughts on prosecutors saying, no, we're going to go even tougher with this?
Yeah, and as a former prosecutor, I hate to say it, I think it's an overstretch. I think it's an overreach. I think second-degree murder would have been appropriate, as well as even possibly manslaughter. If I was charging it, I would probably charge second-degree murder with the option for the jury, if that is permissible in Arizona, as a lesser included offense, to be able to pick manslaughter if they thought the facts warranted it. Based on the text messages between the husband and wife, it sounded like, listen, he may not have been the greatest dad in the world, but it didn't sound like he wanted to kill his child. It doesn't sound like there had been abuse in the home. If that came to light, then I would have a different viewpoint. But it just seems, we have heard of this.
Okay, I like this lady, but she doesn't understand the no abuse in the home. She's obviously, and that's okay. These things happen. She's not up to date on it. It takes a long time to get to all of the nitty-gritty of these cases. She doesn't know there's also been abuse in the home because another child was removed. To me, that would have been an automatic removal for the other 2 children once Parker died.
Right. If you're going to take one, why not take all 3 or, all 4? Take them all.
What was messaged to me is that the older child had like a troubling background, kind of the typical things that we hear. This one just wanted more attention. She wouldn't comply with the rules. Enough. You've got 2 children. Okay, the oldest one, according to her, she's diabetic. And we're hearing, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Call me out, call me an asshole, call me whatever you want. But the youngest one, 2-year-old little Parker, you see her on the screen, is also diabetic. Is that genetic? I'm going to assume so. He must carry that gene because he's got 2 daughters with the same. Is Angel P in here? Because he's got 2 daughters with the same diagnosis, and all of the kids complain of another diagnosis, that they were all left in the car while he would go inside and do what he wanted to do. So, yes, there was abuse in the home.
So many times before, I believe it was in Georgia, where a man left his child in the car and then got on the train and went to work and completely forgot his child was still in the car seat, and sadly she passed away. So these things do happen. Yes, charges are appropriate, but I don't think he would.
Listen to her. Listen to her. Sadly, he forgot she was in the car, and sadly, these things do happen. At what point do we set a precedent and make people accountable? Because listen to her, she's like dismissing this. What happened to our society that kids are Kleenex? Blow your nose and throw it away. I don't understand it. Because I can tell you something right now. If I left my fake Bombay cat OJ in the car and was found dead, I'd have a stiff charge. I have a stiff charge. When did kids become disposable? I don't understand it. We were talking about Alexi Treviso in the Crime Lines and Lies Facebook group. And this woman's like, well, then she should have had access to an abortion. I'm like, well, she did. She hid her pregnancy. She goes, well, then I wouldn't have charged her. I wouldn't have charged her. I'm like, are you kidding me? She gave birth to a baby in New Mexico, and she killed it and threw it in the trash can. When did kids become dispensable in this society? I must have missed the memo. That's why a lot of people don't like me, because I don't go with the woke crowd. I'm not PC, as you know. I've been called a racist, homophobic, you name it, things that I'm not. But when did kids become dispensable? I also have a fake Bombay. Did you know that, Mama B?
Yeah, I love the fake Bombay. Cracks me up every time I hear it.
Mrs. H said, I'm type 1. I can't go 4 hours without needing blood sugar check. How often did he ignore her? There you go. Exactly. How often did he ignore her? Now listen to this woman again. This is what we're dealing with, my friends.
Charged second-degree murder with the option for the jury, if that is permissible in Arizona, as a lesser included offense, to be able to pick manslaughter if they thought the facts warranted it. Based on the text messages between the husband and wife, it sounded like, listen, he may not have been the greatest dad in the world, but it didn't sound like he wanted to kill his child. It doesn't sound like there had been abuse in the home. If that came to light, then I would have a different viewpoint. But it just seems, we have heard of this so many times before. I believe it was in Georgia, where a man left his child in the car and then got on the train and went to work and completely forgot his child was still in the car seat, and sadly she passed away. So these things do happen. Yes, charges are appropriate, but I don't think he was intentionally, because this is a felony murder, you have the child abuse aspect, and then it was elevated to felony murder because of the fact she died. I still think it's too much. I think the family is grieving very deeply. I think he's very remorseful. This is, to me, a second-degree murder or a manslaughter.
Listen, lady, there's already been abuse in the home that Dr. Erica ignored. this type of thinking, and listen, I'm not a string them up by their toenails type of person, but I'm so sick of this craziness. And it's only going to get worse till November. You've seen it, Mama B.
Yeah, every year it's the same thing.
Mm-hmm. I'd say every 4 years, especially.
Now, Scholtes has said, as we've mentioned, he had done this before. He left her inside of the car with the AC running and that everything was fine. But the complaint in this case reveals that at the time he was distracted by not only video games, but putting groceries away. That's what he told police. And so it leads us to ask, should he, if this goes to trial, if this gets to that point, should he take the stand in his own defense? Michael Riley, this is one of those cases. It's not a self-defense case where we often say it's almost you have to take the stand if you're the defendant. But in a case like this, where you have the wife, the mother of this child, fully supporting her husband, she pleaded for him to get bond, and he did, with the judge saying this was just a tragic mistake. Is this something that he would need to relay himself to the jury?
I think it's a
Okay, what's next? Because public enemy number 1 is children. Public enemy number 2 is women. We've seen it in sports. We've seen it in domestic violence. We've seen it in SA crimes. So what's next? Is the R of a woman going to be just a tragic event? Is the M of a woman going to be just a tragic event and an accident? Seriously. Kids and women, we're like chickens. We have to look around all the damn time. And I'm not a man hater by any means. I love DT Driver's pogo stick, okay? And I love the fact that he works his ass off for our family. But why are these things dismissed? When is enough enough? I don't understand.
the strategy the defense should seriously consider. He likely has no criminal record. He can take the stand. I think a jury is going to have sympathy for him. He lost a child. His wife would likely testify as part of the defense case, and his testimony would likely to be consistent with that. Especially if the state is going to go forward with this murder one charge, I think he has a lot of incentive to get up on the stand and tell his story. And if this was maybe a negligent situation, a reckless situation, I think his testimony could help enforce that. And if not get him an acquittal, which I think would be very difficult, it might support a finding of a lesser included offense like a murder two or a manslaughter.
Michael, will I talk about how public perception is of these cases? I mean, they are the headlines that grab people's attention. It breaks our hearts. But parents, if there are parents on that jury, do you think they will commiserate with him or feel much differently? This tragedy that he was looking at video games, that he was putting groceries away. Are they going to be able to relate, or are they just going to look at him like a terrible, terrible parent?
I think it's going to be 50-50, Julia. You're going to have some that can relate to that. You know, hey, taking the groceries in, just briefly leaving the kids in the car briefly. I mean, you know, but also, you know, Arizona, you have the other aspect, other part of the jurors. They're like, hey, how could you do that? But I'll tell you one thing. There is no punishment that the courts can give him that he's not been already punished for right now. It's the mere fact that he lost his child. It was through his negligence, and that's going to just run through his mind, through his soul for the remainder of his years.
It's such a difficult case, but thank you all for weighing in on it, breaking it down for us. We'll continue to follow this story out of Arizona.
And we're going to continue to follow too, because I want to see how this is going to unfold. Will he get convicted of first degree? Will it be plead down to involuntary manslaughter? I can see that happening. Will this attorney that she is paying for get it reduced down as far as child neglect, child endangerment? I don't know. But with what's already happening, it's only going to get more infuriating. So let's take a poll in the chat. Do you want to continue following this story, yay or nay? Kevin B says yes, he's the first vote. This is crazy. Fun to Ski, thank you for answering that question. 5-year-old, 9-year-old, and a 16-year-old that lives with a friend of the mother who passed away this spring. Kimberly Mann, yes. Marisay, yes. Michelle, yes. I'm infuriated. I'm sick of these hot car cases. Ridiculous. Well, in closing, is there anything that Haley wants to say?
Oh, do you want to talk?
Yeah.
Yeah. You say hi.
Hi.
You gotta speak up.
Hi.
Hey, Haley. So, are you ready for school?
No.
Really? How come?
'Cause I don't know.
It's a little nerve-wracking, isn't it? Now, what is your favorite thing to do at school?
Nothing.
Nothing? Do you like the playground?
Not really. It's boring.
Oh, the playground's boring. Well, you would have liked my playground back in the 80s. Woo! It was a crash course, let me tell you. Your mom can tell you. We had playgrounds that would, you go down the slicker slide, you would get a 3rd-degree burn. We had a merry-go-round that if you got caught underneath it, it'd drag you forever. What about lunchtime? Do you like what they feed you at school?
Yeah, but sometimes it's really bad.
Oh, like what? Like what do you not want to eat?
I forgot what it's called. It like has this type of meat in it, and it's like this dough or something. It doesn't taste good. And you can put ketchup on it. It doesn't taste good.
Yeah, that cafeteria, mystery meat. I know. Do they ever make you pizza and give you chocolate milk with it?
Yeah, we can't have to get our self chocolate milk, but they serve the food for us. Yeah, they give us pizza. There's PB&J and muffins too. You don't have to eat the hot lunch because people might not want the pizza, and stuff, so they can get a muffin or a PB&J.
Well, that's good. Now, at Thanksgiving time, do you ever have like the Thanksgiving dinner? My mom used to come and eat lunch with me when it was Thanksgiving time.
I don't think so. I don't think we had school in like the Thanksgiving time. I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't know. But in kindergarten, we had school in the Thanksgiving kind of time. And we did like arts and crafts and stuff. The teacher gave us this little poster and said why they're grateful for like us to be in her class.
Oh, that is so sweet. Now, when you're doing Thanksgiving time, what do you write that you're grateful for?
I don't know. Everything that I have.
There you go. Mm-hmm. Now, at Halloween, do you get to dress up?
No, they won't let us dress up because the costumes might scare the littler kids, maybe. They won't let us dress up.
Well, I used to have these costumes, and I think they might have cost my mom about a good old 56 cents. I'm a lot older than you, Haley. And they were plastic, and you would wear them over your clothes with a plastic mask, and we would all sit there in school. I was Casper, I was a witch, I was Cinderella, and they were supposedly flame retardant, but you couldn't tell that to the teacher that was outside, but that's a different story. And so that's don't let you wear the costumes because that's a fun part of Halloween.
Yeah, but I'm kind of mad that they didn't let us wear the costumes to school. Some kid in my first grade class said that the teacher was gonna dress up as a spider in school, but that did not happen.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not. They actually said that, and it wasn't true. But I'm pretty sure they met for like Halloween.
Oh, absolutely. But sometimes teachers can dress up, just to teach you about spiders that day. And that's always interesting. You're a very smart girl, Haley.
I know.
I know you are. And I'm glad you own it. I'm glad you own it. Now, are you my new co-host until you go back to school?
Yeah.
What on earth? Well, you guys have been saved. Big round of applause for Haley. Haley, you are the absolute best, and your mom is one of my very, very, very good friends. And I'm just so happy you got to come up and talk to us today.
Thank you.
All right. I hope everybody enjoyed their words of wisdom from Haley out of the mouths of babes. We don't eat mystery meat from the cafeteria, and we dress up for Halloween. I can see Haley changing the world. I'm telling you, because she knows what's up. But as far as this case that we talked about today, we're going to keep on keeping on because it is beyond ridiculous. Mod Squad, for the millionth time, thank you for keeping it cool, keeping it real, and being amazing people. All of you. And for the rest of you, Mod Squad members or not, you're my friends. And thank you for being here for all the right reasons. I got off track there for a few weeks because of some other things, but we are back on track now, and I love you all. We're out, Haley. What do you say?
Bye.